This is my standard setup for a new machine, a Linux machine that I would use for development from scratch. So I typically use a Debian 64-bit version of Linux because it's a distribution that has a very minimum additional packages. Okay, you create a new virtual machine of type Linux, Debian 64-bit, and you can type in any name. Okay, once you put a name, you go next, and you choose. You can leave the default memory size and the hard disk. The only thing I change is the location of the VM file. So I prefer to put it into a specific directory rather than a default location, and increase the size to at least 20 gigabytes. Then go to the settings, activate EFI. In the storage, mount the Debian net installed CD ISO that you have downloaded previously, and then in the network port forwarding rules, add a port forward from your host port 2204 or 22 something towards 22 on the guest OS. Then you can start, and then you will be presented with the installer IUI. Then install. Here is the language, English. I live in Hong Kong, and English again. It installs a bunch of first components, and then you go to. So you need to give a domain name and then a couple of user passwords. So I use root, user, not a high security here. And we get to the partitioning part. In partitioning, you just use the default guided settings that puts everything into one partition, and I've brought that to disk. Next part is installation of the base system. So this is still going from the ISO, so pretty fast so far. Okay, now we choose the mirror. So I recommend to set up a cache of apt-get. I have a cache on this machine. It's the apt-cache ng package. Essentially what it does is once you download through that cache, if you have other machines that needs the same package, instead of downloading from the internet, it will go through the cache. It's like a proxy / cache. Okay, so this is download of the mirror. Okay, now finally we get to the package selection. Remove everything and only remove everything, don't keep any section, and we go to install the last part of the system. Then it will install the boot manager, grub, and finally we will reboot. And after it reboots, we will log in as root. First login. And so far all this stuff has to be done on the console. So I install sudo, the SSH server, and then the CA certificates. So that will go through the cache. So it's pretty fast. We will configure sudo so that user has access to sudo. So I put the user as part of the sudoers, and I say that no password required. So now I can exit, and I don't need the console anymore. So I can switch to MobileXterm, and I don't need to have resize screen. MobileXterm, I create a new entry for localhost, and if you remember, my port forward was 2204. So 2204 is forwarded to 22 on the guest, and I changed the name to be Debian. So that introduces that creates a new profile, and I can log in. So now this is SSH to the local box, and I verify that sudo works as user. So that's the basic setup. You should also also upload my private key, so I can SSH to other servers without password. Once it's uploaded, it has to be set to 600 permission and moved into the .ssh directory. That's it for the basic setup.